welcome to the podcast. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Where exactly are you calling from?
Hello to everyone. I'm really happy to speak right now with you. I'm from Ukraine, so hello to everyone from Ukraine.
Yeah, awesome. Ukraine. That's pretty far away.
It's Odessa city.
Yeah, wonderful. That's pretty far away. You know, I am in Ecuador, so we're thousands of miles away, and it's incredible that
I had a drummer from Ecuador. He was studying at our music academy, so I know a little bit about it.
Really? Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Nice. And now we are connected through this podcast, and we are going to talk a little bit about your music. And first of all, I like to know how long have you been making music? Are you like really trained? Did you study music? Because I saw some of your videos, and you play a lot of instruments, right?
Yeah. Well, it's very hard question. How much time I'm in music? Maybe all my life, because my parents are musicians.
Oh, okay.
I was flying to this planet. I was starting to play some music, and my mother was studied me to play piano at first, studied me singing, and as I remember myself, I'm in music, so all my life music with me. Yeah, and after pre-school years, my mother was working with me as a teacher of music. Then I was going to the special music school by Stolarsky. It's the school for musicians. There I was studied like a classical pianist and like a classical composer. And then I was going to the music academy, also like with profession of composer and pianist of classical music and academical music. So my way, it's like classical music way.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have a long musical tradition and history coming from your parents.
Is with music, so that's why I prefer to listen. Probably because of it, I prefer to listen the classical music. My favorite music to listen is a French music from 19th century, the beginning of 20th century, like Francis Poulenc, Maurice Ravel, Claude Debussy. All this kind of French composers, and also the composers from that period, like Igor Stravinsky, my one of favorite, and of course Sergei Prokofiev, also one of my favorite composers, Tchaikovsky. So
that's the one I know.
French composers, my favorite.
That's so good, you know, because I don't really have too much knowledge when it comes to classical music, and I know it's wonderful. I wish I could learn more from it. So maybe a question that yes, of course, but a question that just came to my mind right now, because I am also a musician. You know, I play bass guitar too, and I love music, and I also grew up listening to music, but always like modern pop rock music, you know. So classical music is to me still kind of an unknown field, but I would like to hear from you, since you have so much experience with that. What in terms of musical expertise, what is that makes classical music so special? Why it is so different, so to say, from other music genres?
I think now in our contemporary world, we cannot hear a lot of real classical music for next centuries, because of that we can hear a lot like of sound design, but sometimes it really needs some melody, some dramaturgy, some special sense which had to be in the classical music, which was written a lot years, centuries ago. because there they didn't have some internet, some entertainments like we have now.
Of course.
For that people, the music was everything, and they just use it like and for entertainments for every pieces of their lives. And maybe that's why the music was more the music was more important for people probably at that times. And because of it, maybe they was using more how it calls more wide skills probably for music. I don't know. They didn't have computers. They just did all this stuff with their hands. They was written by pencils, all these notes. And it was a really hard work, but they so wanted to say something to this word that they did it, and they wrote so much compositions for symphony orchestras, and it's really hard to compose because it needs a lot of musicians,
Of course, yeah.
kind of 100 of more than less. It's not like a little song for 3 minutes for some bass drum keys. No, I'm speaking like like laughing, but you understand me. And that they was composing so much. They did so much time for it because they understood that it will be the better way to saying something to this word. Now we have so much information in the internet, and a lot of musicians they just thinks about that what we can compose for our auditory, what the people will buy of our music. So they just trying to sell their music. Yes, it was also at that centuries, but that was in other level, as my opinion.
Yeah.
I like when musicians now can compose music with the knowledge of that centuries, because they can understand the harmony, melody, lines, the dramaturgy of all composition, and it's really important. Also, I really like to compose music for movies, for cartoons, for musicals. And it's not like just songs. It's a different kind of music. It depends on visual, right? It depends on the cinemas, but it's also a very interesting sphere of music. And as I see, the film composers now, they are more close to the academical music of last centuries. So that's why I really enjoy to work with cinematic music also. And I really like to compose music for symphony orchestras, like chamber music, but it's not very popular in Ukraine. Oh, actually, all kind of original music is not popular in Ukraine. It's really hard to, to find your listeners of new original music when you want to say something new, or when you want to make some fusion music, like with a lot of styles. Uh, which I did with Juli music band. And actually, jazz music is also is very hard, hard way
Yeah.
in Ukraine also, because a lot of listeners, most of listeners in Ukraine, they prefer actually pop music. And this pop music, it's a special pop music. It's not like pop music in States or Britain. It's our Ukrainian pop music, and it's really hard to listen. You know what I mean? It's not really clever music, not really skilled music. It's just music for all people. But I don't know why it's a really big problem. The people who is leading heads of the radio casts, of the radio stations, of some TV industry, they really think that our people in Ukraine they cannot understand some new original music with elements of jazz or fusion or some modern contemporary music. I don't know why they thought like this, and they every time said that, oh, your music's so wonderful, so hard for our people. We cannot put your music in our pop hits radio stations because it's so hard to understand to most of people. So I don't know. They thought that our people in Ukraine doesn't understand because they cannot understand. But I think that our people in Ukraine is very progressive people.
Yeah.
But a lot depends on some few people who thinks that this kind of music cannot be here like in a pop ways. And actually not like everything. So that's why it's a big problem in Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think that is pretty much a worldwide phenomenon, like all you get to hear, as you said, most of the time in the charts and radio station is pretty much, mainstream music, Not to say it's bad, but I think we could hit more. No, there is so much more that we can hear.
It's great mainstream music, but in Ukraine we have a little bit different mainstream music than probably in States, and
Yeah, yeah.
very different music like from Europe even. So we have different mainstream music with Europe. We are in the Europe, like situable as how I can say.
Your location?
Ukraine in the location of Ukraine is Europe, but we have a really different taste of music, like with mainstream, and this also not really great for this kind of musicians like Juli music band because we have different different views of our music.
Yeah. But I think what I thought when I first heard your music, Julie knows, right, your project, it's actually some sort of alternative pop R&B kind of thing. So you have all this background of different kinds of music genres. How would you describe your own sound? What you do with Julie Nosa, right? Am I pronouncing it right? How this? Julie Nosa, yeah. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this project. What exactly it is?
Yeah, it's a project of my music and with the project of the of friends of the closest minds of me, something like this. Um, this project was created like how much years ago? Let me remember. Like 7 years ago, probably 7 years ago. Yeah, the first our drummer was actually from Ecuador.
Oh, yeah. Well, what a coincidence. That.
What?
What a coincidence.
Can you say again?
Coincidence means because I am from Ecuador too, and you had an Ecuadorian drummer, so that's crazy. It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. He was studying at our music academy, and he was a friend of our violinist. So we had some concerts. It was I don't know. We were speaking about mainstream in our countries. So for Ukraine, our music was a lot of years like jazz music. Exactly, jazz, hard jazz, free jazz, contemporary jazz music, and nobody wants to understand like some pop music or like mainstream music. So that's why our first festivals with this band was actually exactly jazz festivals. we have a jazz festival in Ukraine, in Odessa. It's like I don't remember exactly, like 17 years, very old jazz festivals. For Odessa, the founder of that festival was my teacher of improvisation of jazz, Yuri Kuznetsov. He's very famous composer and musician, jazz musician in our country.
Uh-huh.
And our first festivals with Juli Music Band was at jazz festivals. It was very interesting because I'm from classical industry in general, and it's different music from jazz, But I don't know. It's like I didn't listen a lot of jazz at my life. I was listening more than jazz, like hard rock, metalcore, something like this. I loved to listen classical music and also this kind of alternative rock. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
rock side.
That's a great combination.
What?
That's a great combination, I said.
Yes. But I don't know. My father, he's a bassist, and he loved to listen more jazz music. We were not living together with him, but maybe something like on minds. This his love of jazz music, was flying to my mind, and probably that's why I was composing this kind of music, like maybe with some jazz elements. I don't know. It's not classical jazz or academical jazz. It's sometimes we like to play compositions of our compositions with some jazz standard dramaturgy, like with improvisations, like it works in jazz stage. But in general, it's like original compositions, like he was hearing, and I don't know why, but it's sometimes with jazz views with jazz. I don't know how it calls, with jazz ways. So that's why we was at jazz festivals, and a lot of years we was like in jazz stages, and after that we found new drummer, and now he was us like 6 years. So we was working with Ecuador drummer like a few months. But after that we were finding our drummer from Ukraine, and now he's like the very important part of our band because it's a rhythm section, and a lot of years, like 2 or 3 years, we were performing only like a duo together. I was playing a lot of keys. I was playing at Moog synthesizers, like bass lines, and he was playing a lot of percussion, drum sets, and it was like a duo project. But after that, I understood that I want to hear something more, and of course, now we are working with bassists also, and sometimes calling for other musicians or performers. We also really like to make concerts with mime, with pantomima. I don't know how in English.
Yeah, yeah.
Dancers is dance the contemporary dance, but like with pantomimas things.
Oh, wonderful. That sounds, yeah, nice. Are there any videos of that? I would love to see that. That sounds amazing.
We had some videos of this kind of concerts. I will send you.
That would be great, yeah.
So and then after this, I was I forget what I was speaking about actually.
You started, you said, yeah, with Juli Nosa, you started making jazz music with the Ecuadorian drummer, and then you changed it around?
After that, some manager called me and asked me to took a part at the Voice of Ukraine, this kind of project.
Oh, yeah. I saw some YouTube videos. You were part of The Voice Ukraine and Eurovision Contest too, am I right?
yeah, and yeah, it's right. So I didn't want to go to The Voice a lot of years because I didn't want to play not my music. I was shouting at everyone and told that I will not play not my songs. I don't want to play covers. We don't play covers and something
Yeah.
like this. But that manager told me that okay, you will be able to play something of your songs probably, so please come to our project. I said okay, so I was at The Voice. Of course they told me not to play my songs, but the producers of this project of The Voice, they told me that if you want you can creating your arrangements of the songs. You can change the music, just please stay the words of these songs, but you can work like a composer if you want. So it was a really big pleasure for me because the producers let me do like I want, like a composer. So it was a really interesting experience. And after that, they called us to play at Eurovision preselection, and
Wow.
that's it.
But wait a minute. You said you were not allowed to play your own songs. You had to make covers for that show.
Yeah, before The Voice, we didn't play covers. It's really strange, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Covers, we just played our own music, original music, something like this. And I was working a lot with academical music also with musicians. So some entertainment competitions with academical composers, music and something like this. But after Voice, we understood that okay, it can be nice to play some covers. And
Yeah.
we began to play some cover songs which we liked, and sometimes I was working like a session musician with other bands, with playing kind of covers. So it's normal. Sometimes it's vice versa with artists. They are singing a lot of covers, and after the projects like The Voice, they began to find their ways. They began to find their music. But in our case, it's vice versa, and we decided to play covers after original music. Yeah.
Yeah. That's absolutely. But I think it's the first time that I talked to somebody who was in these kinds of casting shows. So what is it like? Because I really don't know what to think about them. I think it's cool. I think it's a great opportunity for many people. But what is it like to be in there? Because it's also a business. So was it a good experience? Would you, I don't know, recommend people to do that?
I think if musicians, if artists want to find some new listeners, of course they should go to this kind of
Yeah.
projects like The
Yeah.
Voice, Eurovision, like these kind of shows. When I was at The Voice, I have never understood what is it. I didn't watch a lot of this kind of shows, and I didn't work a lot with my social media links. Like I didn't have an Instagram, or I had, but I didn't work
You didn't use it.
with this social media. I didn't have a normal Facebook page. I didn't have a normal YouTube channel. So I was performing a lot of festivals, but I didn't work with my music band like a PR manager, and we didn't have the
Yeah.
PR manager at that time. So it was not really great for this kind of shows, because if you want to go to this kind of shows, you should have some PR manager who will work with your social media, who will work with your listeners, with your new fans from the
Absolutely.
show. So I didn't have it, and that's why probably it was not really great. But if you go to this kind of show, you need to have this kind of managers, because it's really important, and it's great experience. Like for me, like to play on these kind of stages. I was performing on stadiums, on big theaters before this, so it's not like something new for me, but it was new for me, like a TV show.
Yeah. The TV studio, the managers.
Yeah, it's very important, like how it calls, like we now in air, right? So it's almost all in the same time, and it's really important. And of course, you should be more more friendly probably than me when I was going to the voice, because I'm an introvert.
Okay.
I didn't speak a lot with people before my performance. I prefer to sit in alone
Yeah, yeah.
in the room before performance. But this project is about the relationships between participants, making friends and finding some managers. So it's because it's about it, and probably um, for going to this kind of shows, you need to be more extroverted. Then yes, this that was a problem for me, because I was just was thinking about my performance, and that's all. I didn't speak with anyone and something like this. But on this kind of shows, you need to find your the new artists, the new friends, new managers, new producers. I don't know, something like this. But it's good opportunity, because after the show of The Voice, the producers was calling us to take part at Eurovision pre-selection. So I don't know, they didn't let me speak about my music band at Voice. I don't know why. they just said like, it's a composer of some movies of our channel. I was working at that channel, like a composer on some,
Okay.
a movie about the Chernobyl, how it calls, Chernobyl catastrophe,
Yeah, yeah.
in Ukraine. It was, in 1986. So our production of films, they did a documentary movie about it. So I was composing the music for them, and it was the same channel with that The Voice channel. So they just did a character of my artist, like, oh, the composer of that movie went to our show. And of course, it's a show, and they need to create some characters, to create some interesting characters for their viewers. So that's why not all information is true, like on these projects. It's like, maybe the series called Unreal. It's an American series about the Bikeller show. And this series, Unreal, it's about like producers created the real reality shows.
Yeah, okay.
And if you watch this kind of series, you will understand how it works in all kind of shows, on talent shows also. So
Yeah.
the producers needs you like an interesting character of their show, and they can, if you just great musicians, probably it will not work. Maybe it will work if you have a great funds, or if you have a great, blessing of God.
Yeah.
But if you are just a great musician, but you cannot speak some jokes or on the TV, or you cannot
Perform, no, become a big, yeah, yeah, become a performer.
work exactly. So it really depends on the show. So it's a show. I mean, in
Yeah.
Ukraine, I don't know on some other the voice of other countries, but in Ukraine it's kind of a real show, and it's really important for musicians. It's really interesting experience, but it's not most of music. It's a lot of show, and. But thanks God, they called us to play at Eurovision, and they let me write our name of the band. So
Yeah, yeah.
first, like on this kind of shows, like at Eurovision songs. But of course, because that it's a show, they didn't let us go to take part in Eurovision, like to be how it goes, to be from Ukraine, because they said that my music is too magical for Eurovision, performing too classical, and it's not about Eurovision. So they just let us be at pre-selections.
Uh-huh.
They said that it's too magical. So,
Magical. That's a nice word to say.
so that's a story about the West.
Yeah. What year? What year was that? What year did you play on? Were you part of The Voice?
What I am playing, what
In what year did you play on that?
year? 2018.
2 years ago. Okay. And then would you say that changed the direction Juli Nosa took after that? That you started making other kind of music? Was it an influence, so to say, in your music after that?
To create new albums, of course. After that, it was the year when I understood how I can download music on the live streams, because before this year, before 2018, I didn't understand how I can download music on, Spotify, iTunes, and something like this.
Yeah.
And we had a release of our first album on the Germany label in 16 year. But of course, I didn't understand how it works, because the Europe industry of music is really different, like different of Ukrainian.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, they thought, German label thought that I have a lot of PR managers, and they will create normal gigs in Germany, and they will sell our CDs on our concerts and stuff like this. But I didn't have these PR managers at that time, and that's why it was like they did a release. Yes, our music was playing on some radios in Europe, but I didn't understand how it works, because I was sitting in Ukraine and I didn't have a PR managers, and actually every kind of managers. And that's why only after Eurovision I understood how I can download music on my own label, like just do everything with your music by yourself. And after that, I was downloading and that Germany album, and after our first first albums. So only after this year we understood how it can work actually in general music industry, because in Ukraine it didn't work in general of every musicians.
Fantastic. I think that's such an incredible story that you're telling us about your project, Juli, and also how everything started and then changed the direction. You got into technology, so to say, after the voice experience, and now you have a pretty good a decent presence on social media, right? I actually found about you on Instagram, thanks to Instagram advertising. They show me your music. It caught my attention. So you are a composer, singer. You play the piano. What other instruments do you play? You play also bass guitar, no?
Yeah, I play a little bit bass guitar, drums, ukulele, all kind of.
The ukulele. That's great.
What?
The ukulele. You play the ukulele too.
Yeah, I'm an ambassador of some companies in Ukraine of ukulele. Actually,
Oh, cool.
I didn't play on ukulele all my life. I just was playing on ukulele from September of this year, and it's really strange because I was playing all my life on piano, but nobody in Ukraine asked me to be an ambassador of some companies of keys, but I was playing like a few months on ukulele, and a lot of companies ukulele asked me to participate in their companies like an ambassador. So it's really weird, but it's our life. It's sometimes very strange. So yes, I really love bass guitar. It's my passion.
Really? Oh, wow. Me too. Wonderful. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I'm a bassist too, so it's really nice to hear.
I really dream about some little bass guitar. Maybe you know the company Mayans.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did 1 year ago the little Kali bass guitars. Like they are looking like ukulele.
Wow, really? I haven't
Small.
I haven't checked them.
You saw it?
Yeah. No. I haven't checked them. Sounds incredible.
So amazing. They looked like my dream. I really
Your dream bass guitar.
because the sound of this bass is actually amazing. It's not like bass ukulele, it's a real bass guitar, but it's a little bit smaller than the original bass guitars. But the sound is perfect, with perfect wood, and all this stuff is great.
Yeah.
I'm really dreaming now about this Mayon's Kali bass guitar, because it's for my hands it's perfect, because I have not really big hands. So it's I don't know, it's like for me, special for me. So I really
It's the perfect bass guitar. I'm gonna check them out. But you have a pretty nice Fender P bass, no? A vintage. I'm looking at your pictures right now. That's a really nice Fender jazz bass. No, precision bass, right? It's a
Fender. It's a Fender of my father. He was I don't know. He was buying it at America a lot of years ago. It's very old.
It's an original American precision bass.
Yeah, but it's like handmade. It's precision with jazz bass together.
Oh,
So it's not. It's like handmade, but it's
sweet.
Fender, but handmade.
Sweet. The sound must be pretty sweet, right? A wonderful sound.
Yeah, very great wood, very old wood. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
some problems with company from 20th century till 2010 years, because they had some fires on their companies, and the guitars between 20th century till 2010, it's not really great wood, but after and before it's really wonderful. So it's a very old Fender.
Yeah, looks amazing. And all the instruments actually that you have, the place where you play with your bandmates, your rehearsal room looks also pretty nice. Where do you record your songs? Where do you write your songs?
Where I recorded, or
Yeah, exactly. Where do you rehearse? Because your rehearsal room looks pretty nice too. So it seems like a really nice place.
rehearse, we have a home of our drummer, and we rehearsed all our stuff, all our bands rehearsal in his home because it's not a room, it's a big house with drums, with all this kind of instruments. So that's why it's really great that we need some special rehearsal studios.
Yeah.
We just need to go to this house and was rehearsing all this time. So it's really great. So thanks to our drummer.
Yeah, it looks like a really nice place, no? Full of wood and seems pretty professional, just like a studio almost, no?
Oh no, it's not like a studio. We're trying to make a normal sound. Actually, we're working with our bassist now on our sound, perhaps some online concerts, online concerts from the home, from this home of our drummer. So we need more, how it calls, more special things like in studio. But we try, we try, and maybe very soon we will make. all this stuff, and we will be able to have normal online concerts from our YouTube channel. So I hope on it. So it will be very soon.
Yeah, very nice. So you are into virtual shows, concerts. Have you done some of these already?
I think it's the best way now for musicians in Ukraine. So yeah.
No, I thought because I was looking at the picture right now, but I think that's actually a studio. It says Louder Studio, but that's not your drummer room, right? I thought that was the room.
It's in studio. Yeah, it's not our studio. It's a studio from our city. It's
Ah,
a
okay.
studio actually. This
Yeah.
studio works like I don't know, a few months. It's pretty new, and we were going to the studio because a friend of mine, he was working like a sound engineer in Kiev, in the capital of Ukraine. But some guys from that studio, they called him to work to be a head engineer of the studio, and they called him to create this studio like with right acoustic stuff, with right all this stuff like in studio. So he was working with that guys like engineer of the studio, like they were building by their hands all this stuff. And now I think it's the best studio, one of the best studio in Ukraine, because this sound engineer, he was working a lot of years in LA, so he understood the criterions of American sound in the studios. And this studio, it's a really wonderful gift for our Odessa's musicians, because till that moment we didn't have this kind of recording studio. And now we are working on some new song, new composition in this studio. So hope someday, very soon, you will be able to listen what the instruments sounds in this studio.
Oh,
I'm really excited about it.
that's amazing. Yes, that's what I was talking about. I thought that was the room of your drummer. That's why that's what I thought. Wow, that's a fantastic that's a fantastic rehearsal room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful studio. It seems pretty cool, pretty nice with all the wood and
Yeah, it is. It is. It's
yeah.
great.
I think magic can happen there. You can continue creating magical sounds there, no?
Yeah, because it's a really great opportunity to play at the same time with drummer and bassist and all kind of musicians. And it's really important, to record music when you are playing in the same time.
Yeah.
And it's a great room for drums, exactly, because it's all wooden, and it has very high floors. So floors, not floors.
Ceiling. Ceiling.
Not floor, opposite of floor.
The ceiling.
Yeah, very high, and
Yeah.
it's a
Sure.
great sound.
Oh, fantastic. That's amazing. So you also have a new video now? No? It's out now?
Yeah, I was released a video. I don't know about what kind of video you were speaking, but we had a release of a new video 1 month ago. It's a video about our city, about Odessa, and it's like a VR video. You can walk inside our video. Even if you don't have special VR glasses, you can just walk in with our video, like into this video, like walking around yourself, and you will see all these 360 things on the video. Yes, you understand what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly the video. I mean, it's great. It's amazing.
It's new technology for us. We have never did before we are music videos, but because we decided to do it, we were find some friend of our from Odessa, and he is a really big lover of our city. And this song, it's a hymn of Odessa. It's a song like about our city, and we decided to make this kind of trip inside our city. It was released while the quarantine time, so when people couldn't walk, so they can do it even right now to walk inside our city, even they are not in Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah. It's really nice. I'm watching right now the video, and it's just so cool. The song is also wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about the song? Is there a history behind that?
Yeah, the song it's about Odessa. It's song about our city. It's song about your dreams. When you see them while you are sleeping, you can find your right way. And the song about that you have your own home, not like in some exactly city. You can your own home inside your soul, and that's why when you understood that you have your own home inside your soul, you will be happier. So this song is about it.
Yeah, it's a really nice message. I really enjoy it, and
Thank you.
everyone should go and check it out. You can find Juli Nosa on social media at Juli Nosa Music, right?
Yeah, Juli Noza Music in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere, and on Spotify, just Juli Noza.
Yes, they are now everywhere, and incredible artists, incredible musicians from Ukraine. So all the world should know you and go and check out that amazing video. They need glasses, right? You need 3D glasses to enjoy the experience, right?
Can you repeat, please?
In order to enjoy the video, you need the 3D glasses, right? It's the best way to enjoy the your music
If you
video.
have glasses, you can walk correctly.
Yes, as
Video, but without glasses, it's also working.
yeah, it's yeah. I'm watching right now without.
Three version of this music video. Original, it's like without glasses, just like with these effects of glasses, but it looks very ordinary. We are version and lyric video, but the lyric it's probably for Ukrainian listeners who understand Ukraine. Yes.
That's fantastic. Amazing video, amazing music. Go and check it out, people. Thank you for being part of the show.
Soon, very soon, it will be our release will be at 21 of June. So it will be really soon. This song calls Your Name.
Your name.
It will be in different languages a little bit. There will be a little bit Portuguese, Spain, a little bit, and Hebrew and Ukrainian with English. So it will be like mishmash song
Wow.
about sacrificing of our names.
Wow. That sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to it. So the premiere will be on June 21st, you said, right?
21st, yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Very nice. And I hope we can see you guys sometime in Latin American countries. That will be also great.
Oh, I hope on it. I hope on it. Someday we will have concerts in your fields.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hit me up and
It will be wonderful.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Yeah, Julie, no? So it's your own project.
You're a little dragon.
Little Dragon Julie. Yeah, bassist, composer from the Ukraine. Thank you so much for being part of the show. It was really nice talking to you. Is there anything else you want the world to know about you, about your music before we end the show?
Just conduct the imagination with Juli Noza, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Go and check it out. Julie Nosa, it was nice to meet you. It was nice to talking to you. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you so much for asking. Thank you so much. See you soon and hope to see you at our concert.
Absolutely. I will pop by. You know, I lived in Germany for many years, so every once in a while I am in Europe, so I will try to catch you up. Yeah, I lived for 12 years there. I never been to Ukraine, unfortunately. I was in Poland. I was in some Eastern European countries, but unfortunately not in Ukraine. But I would love to. I had friends from Ukraine. They were nice, yeah.
Oh, Ukraine is not really great place for new music, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ukraine full of wonderful musicians. It's true.
Absolutely, yes.
A great place for art.
Yeah. But now we have the internet, no? And everyone can check out your music.
It's our helping.
The revolution now. So this podcast will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much every podcast application around the world. So it will be available in about 2 or 3 weeks. I will let you know when it's online, and let's spread the word. Thank you for listening, and I'll say bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Julie. Bye.
Моє місто зустрічає світ всіх мрій. У своїх обіймах вітру, а місто зустрічає хід подій. Я знайду свій сон. Місто кличе до себе, місто кличе до себе, місто кличе до себе мої думки. Місто кличе до себе в тобі, усе це місто країни, всі міста, усі планети є. Я прийду до тебе за тобою в снах, де ми крила казкових птах. Хвилі кличуть до себе, хвилі кличуть до себе, хвилі кличуть до себе в морські світи. Сотні разів падай, шукай, біжи, мрій, кричи, відчувай, відкрий себе, знайди себе з глибин. Я прийду до тебе за тобою в снах, де ми крила казкових птах. Там у хвилях моря сни моїх днів, безлих ночів. Моє місто зустрічає світ всіх мрій. Моє місто зустрічає хід подій. Там у хвилях моря сни моїх днів, безлих ножів у ноги. Я прийду до тебе за тобою в снах, де ми крила казкових птах. Де ми крила казкових птах. Місто зустрічає світ всіх мрій. Моє місто зустрічає хід подій. Моє місто зустрічає світ всіх мрій.